Hello, and welcome back to the Very Real Estate Effect podcast, a show dedicated to real estate investing right here in Quebec. I am thrilled today to have a kind of a repeat guest, Sean Tasse, co-founder of Squarefeet. We had interviewed your counterpart back in January, Jordan, and also Sebastien Jean, who's a chartered appraiser and chartered administrator who is part of the transaction for Squarefeet. So welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you.
Hi.
So as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, back in January, we had done an interview with Jordan, who's your counterpart co-founder, about how you guys had developed an algorithm to use artificial intelligence to assess property prices. And roughly over the last year, you guys have been able to develop the company quite far, gain more and more local and out of province clients, mostly developers, I believe. And now you guys have exited the company and have done a transaction with Sebastien. So today we'll take a little bit of time to kind of go over a little bit of the history and what it is exactly that you've developed, and so you guys can kind of let us know like how the transaction went through between all of you guys, because it's always a tedious process. And then Sebastien, on your side, like why were you interested and where you're hoping to take this company. So first off, Sean, hey, could you just give us another rundown on exactly what is Squarefeet?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks for having me today. It's always fun to come and talk to you, Axel. So Squarefeet.ai was imagined by my co-founder, Jordan Owen, and his brother. So they've had this idea a while back, which was basically to allow developers to track in real time the sale price of their units. So basically the clients were developers, and the goal was for them to, when they sell a new project out, that they could be able to track the price, to be able to optimize it while it's being sold. Obviously, real estate projects take time to sell. It can be years, and obviously the market changes during that time. So the premises of Squarefeet was to be able to develop a software, a SaaS, so software as a service, that it would allow developers to do that. Mm-hmm. So to be able to do that, we came up with different ideas, different solutions. And one of them was to start collecting data to be able to build algorithms that would be able to predict the price of real estate. And that's basically what we did for the first year of our creation, is that we established a methodology to collect data. We hired a data scientist in-house to allow us to start building our algorithms. And we also hired front-end developers to help us build a platform that the developers would be able to use to be able to track their sales in real time.
Okay.
So basically that's what Squarefeet is. So it's basically appraising real estate in real time and catering to real estate developers to optimize the pricing.
Nice. And I can just imagine, as you said, like for developers building a tower with, let's say, 125 units, the price of the second floor, the seventh floor, and the 15th floor, just from a height perspective, isn't the same. So I could see how useful it would be for a developer to be able to properly assess, because every dollar counts in that sale price. And as you said, there's such a lag. You know, you promote the project now, but the units are going to be delivered in 18 months, and the price obviously changes during that period. So it would be a really helpful tool.
Exactly. And we actually cut it up in 3 steps at Squarefeet when we would talk to our clients. So we would initially give them a market analysis. So basically using the data of today to tell them what the market looks like today. And then what we would do is when they were ready to put their project for sale, so their initial price list. So obviously for each project, there's a first price list that's developed by the developer to be able to say, okay, this is my baseline for my units. And we would help them develop that initial price list, but in a more sophisticated way. So we would have different attributes that we would analyze to be able to build that price list in a more efficient way. For example, the quantity of windows in the unit, the size of bathrooms versus the size of kitchen, whole bunch of different ratios that we were able to analyze and to build that initial prices in a better way. And then the third step was to be able to allow them to get on the platform and to track the prices and to have us suggest increase in prices for different units in real time.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And just from what you described, I can just imagine the quantity of data you need to collect, like, the square footage of windows and the ratio of bathroom to kitchen and stuff like that. And it all makes sense. It's obvious. It's just that you must have been extremely well organized, obviously, in your databases.
Yeah, the key of this project. Well, actually, it's funny that you asked the question, because initially when we started this in June of last year, we thought that with the because obviously my partners come from a family of real estate developers, so they have a historic, database in-house. So we thought with that historic database and with our potential clients that would be gathering on the platform, we would be able to have sufficient data to be able to start developing algorithms to predict pricing and do regressions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Quickly, I would say in October of last year, we realized that, we're not getting the results that we were hoping to get with the quantity of data that we had at that moment. So that's when I sat down with the guys, and I remember a clear discussion with them saying, listen, guys, the goal is to collect data, and we have to find a way to collect, yes, our proprietary data with the ones that are our clients, but also public data. Mm-hmm. Public data is basically available online on different websites, but you have to be able to develop the computers that will be able to gather the information and to store it in a database that's organized, and that once you've collected it, then you can consume it, and then you can run your algorithms on it. So that was a big change, like a pivot that we did at that point. We realized that it wasn't going to work. We had actually, when we started, we had about 5 different summer students that were in, and they were just analyzing plans. So like architect plan, taking off quantities, and we were putting that in a database, and we had 5,000 lines, and we started doing regressions and analysis, and then we realized, this is not going to work, not at all going to work. So we needed a lot more larger quantities, and that by December of 2020, we were up to about 2.5 million lines of data, and that allowed us to really get going.
Mm-hmm. And have you been able to now kind of automate those processes for data scraping?
Yeah, absolutely. The data scraping is all automated, and it's across Canada. So we have data. Well, no longer me, Sebastien Jean has data.
Yeah.
across Canada for real estate, and it's being updated automatically every day.
Wow. We're all, depending on our roles and industry and stuff, now we rely just so much on all those automated processes, because if we think back that we have to try to do it by hand, like we don't just throw in the towel and move on to something else. So I have actually great admiration and respect for those who are able to properly set it up so then it just runs.
Yeah, it was definitely, and that's my partner Mark Owen, he was not necessarily, doesn't have a background in software engineering or whatsoever, but he was able to develop those with the people that we had in house to make them robust, to be able to assure that we did that collection. So that was a big win from his part.
Yeah. And so now you had started the company originally in the summer of 2020. We're now in the end of the summer 2021. Around what period did you start to see the algorithm really work properly and really start to produce accurate information? Number one, and then to start to think like, hey, amongst us, do we want to stay in? Do we want to maybe look for a buyer? Like, can you walk us through that reasoning?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, like I said, in October we pivoted. We started collecting data. In January, when we came back from the holidays, we started running analysis on the data that we had. Actually, Jordan Owen, my partner, started running analysis on those on that data set, and we were able to come up with super interesting and relevant information for potential clients that were developers. And it's at that point in January that we were able to start selling some sort of service to developers to be able to help them with the market analysis. So our first step that we wanted to be able to do, which was the market analysis, we were able to do it in January. And I would say between January and beginning of April, we sold for about $100,000 worth of market analysis to different clients. So that was a huge win for us. We knew that there were a product there that was that was good. And obviously, the way that Jordan is, he likes to automate stuff and make things very efficient. So he has set up his own way of building these market analysis in a template to be able to get them out quickly. I think his first report that he did, his first market analysis, took him about a day, and at the end he was down to about an hour to produce the report. So,
Wow.
And that was basically fetching the data in the database, analyzing it, and he had built a template because of his background in real estate development, and our clients were real estate developers. He knew exactly what these guys wanted to know, and he was able to show them in a way that was very simple for them to understand.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, in the end, did you just kind of break it down on a price per square foot basis?
For sure that at the end, the last table in the document is a price per square foot. That's what the guys want to know, obviously, but there's a lot of other things that they want to know. They want to know their cap rate. They also want to know, let's say a good example is the number of bathrooms that you should put in a unit. So let's say you have a 1 bedroom. Obviously you put 1 bathroom, but when you're in a 2 bedroom, do I put 2 bathrooms or I put 1 bathroom? And when should I be doing that? And we were able to show them that in certain sectors of the city, there's a reason to have 2 bathrooms versus 1 bathroom. And that's a huge decision for a developer to take at the beginning of his project, because it's huge amounts of money that you're putting in for a 2nd bathroom. But if it allows you to get a better rent rate, then it's worth it.
Yeah. And as you said, that's an excellent example. Like for the developer, when he's still working on his plans, the increase in cost for that 2nd bathroom versus the increase in revenue, either on rental or on resale value, it's a pretty straightforward decision. And I could really see how that would help right off the bat. And as you said, according to the location into the city, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, and the further up you go in I was going to say the quality of dwelling, the more high end you get, the more important those decisions are, because the actual increase in value can be quite substantial.
Yeah, no, definitely. And one of the methodologies that we developed, to be able to come up with these answers, because it's with data, it's garbage in, garbage out. So you have to know what you're putting in. So we developed this. Well, actually, we replicated what was done in the States, which was basically using census tracts. So when you do your recensement every year, or every 3 or 4 years, or 5 years, I'm not sure.
5 years.
You fill out this form and you say like what kind of house you have, your income, what's your age, and all that. What we did is that we would cluster these different census tracts together, so it wouldn't necessarily be the typical radius of 1 kilometer around your property that we would be looking at. We would be looking at other neighborhoods that are similar in census than your neighborhood, which allowed us to get larger data sets for a same project. So the more data you have, the more accurate you're going to get if it's similar to the census that you have in your project. Yeah. So that was a way for us to grow the data set for an analysis for a certain project, which helped get really good data.
Wow, you really developed an interesting product, and I can really see the value, obviously for developers, your clients, but also, hey, for chartered appraisers. So makes a lot of sense that you were interested in this. And so maybe we can kind of like pivot the conversation now towards, earlier this year when with the team, Sean, you guys have decided to maybe exit or to resale. And then we can bring in Sebastien to understand like what his interest is in all of this. So did you just sit down, the 4 of you, and just decided to sell, or how did that work?
No, it's a lot of circumstances that are around this, but I would say that the main one was, like I said, by the beginning of April, we knew that we had a product that people were ready to buy, that added value to people. So knowing that there's were value for the client, we knew that the business itself had a certain value. So we knew that we were at a certain point in the development of the business that we would potentially be able to exit, because of the value that was generated from the resources that we had built in-house. So that's one of the first things. And the second thing was that since the beginning of the inception of Squarefeet, and this goes back to the beginning of the pandemic, when Jordan came back from MIT because of COVID, when I got laid off from my construction sites because of COVID as well. and we started a first business together that was successful. And we postponed, both of us, we postponed, for myself, my bar, and for Jordan going back to MIT. So we knew that those projects that we had put on the back burner were going to have to come back one day and be dealt with one day.
Yeah.
And you know, these projects that are basically academic projects, if you don't get them done at a certain point, you're just never going to get them done. So Jordan and I had a conversation on that, and we knew that we had to go back to finish what we had started. For myself, I did 3.5 years of night school to get my law degree, you know, and all I need is another 4 months of bar to get my license. I mean, it doesn't make sense not to go get
No,
it.
you got to get it done.
And same thing for Jordan. I mean, his master's, you know, he invested so much time to get into MIT, and you know, he was halfway done. I mean, he has another year to do, and he's leaving next week to go to MIT. So those were obviously weighed in. And like I said, the value that we knew that we were at good timing. We had good relationships with our clients. We had good relationship with our partners. So what we did is basically we started reaching out to people and saying, listen, this is what's happening, and would you guys be interested? And that's where the conversation started of selling the business.
Absolutely. Okay. And then Sebastien, from your perspective, like, how did you first started to hear about the company, and at what point did you actually show interest? Because, you know, maybe a developer could have bought it.
Yeah, for sure. The first time Sean contacted me because he would like to have more info about a transaction I made with Colliers, and he was supposed to do a transaction with Colliers for as a new client. But at this time, I think the contract wasn't a good one for Squarefeet. And at this time, I heard about Squarefeet. It was the first time I heard about them. And we started to spoke together, and we were interested to know more about the database they had, try to reach more information about that, try to probably pick up some info to provide more efficiency in appraisal services. So we spoke about a month. We went on client meetings together, tried to help them to be more accurate with their report for developers. And after that, I think after a month and a half, Sean told me if I would like to be a tech company. I tell him no. Why? And a week after, he told me, do you want to buy Squarefeet? And we said, never thought about that, but why not?
Let's think about it.
Yeah. So it seems to be a great idea because we finally bought it in July. So we are pretty much proud of this transaction because we are probably more
Positioned?
We are in a better position to do our appraisal with the data set, but we are going to introduce the artificial intelligence to help us to price the many characteristics we need to appraise in every part of the appraisal or the real estate business, because it's not the only new construction we need to appraise. Everything is need to be appraised, and characteristic change among the market, the human l'émotion humaine.
Okay, the human emotion part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the human emotion can modify the way the market is going to be. You saw directly the pandemic, when it was supposed to be, everyone had predict the market is going to drop. And what we see is the opposite. So it was pretty much crazy for the past, I think, 12 months right now. So it's hard to predict.
No, but just to rephrase that, if I understand correctly, what you're saying is that it's a tool that helps you to maybe smooth out the human emotion of transaction and pricing, because I suspect when you do appraising, well, we're all humans, and we may let sometimes our emotions guide a bit of the numbers, and this algorithm maybe helps to normalize it.
For sure, it's going to help, but it won't be able to stabilize, because it's like the stock market. We can try to predict it, but we cannot know when it goes up or down.
Mm-hmm.
We can have mobile to see what can be happen from the past.
Yeah.
Because we can see and learn from the past. So this is what we are going to try to do for
Mm-hmm.
sure, and probably be more efficient in our appraisal for the bank, and probably more faster than what we can do actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we are for sure be able to put more accurate data in the database, because we are going to visit the property, the existing property, and adding more information, more characteristic directly in the database, and try to pick up from that and understand the breakdown of the market transaction done for every existing property.
Yeah. And so, okay, so now that you said you guys have concluded the transaction back in July.
Yep.
And so now, and it might still be in the works, and whatever you're comfortable with sharing, Sebastien, is that, are you still hoping to keep this kind of as a separate business and maybe still sell services to developers, for example? Or are you just fully integrating it into your appraisal business to really help your existing services?
It's going to be two separate companies for sure. Real estate businesses are going to be client of Squarefeet, that's for sure. We would like to continue to help developers to have their report if it's possible, and have more accuracy in the prediction, and helping them to make more money for sure. That was the first idea of Jean and his guy, and it's going to be our two.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, it makes so much sense for you to have acquired the business, and then depending on how you wanted to go about it, yeah, to help you in your existing line of service, but then to create also a new stream of income where you can actually go tap into a whole different market with the developers, and to hopefully do this Canada wide.
Correct. And I actually in Canada there is at least, I think it's 2,500 appraisal company across Canada. So we are going to offer them one solution, and for sure another solution to accelerate their appraisal, and a solution for developers across Canada.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And just an idea out there, like, would you ever see kind of using the tool to do almost like a lead generation, where you could create a website or a portal where anyone can just go put their street address and, fill up a little questionnaire, and then obviously they expect to get an appraisal price, but you don't give it to them. They have to call you, right? So then you can sell your services. Like, would you see like a possibility for a direct to consumer solution?
Yes, probably, because with the database, probably we can automate something to help them to have probably information from their house, or maybe an house they would like to purchase.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And even if it's just to give a big bracket, and then if they want a more accurate number, they have to call you.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many possibilities. That's really exciting, you guys.
Correct.
That's great, and because you kind of have the potential to actually have quite an impact on the real estate industry as we know it in Canada.
Yes, it's for sure. It's going to be we are going to have a big impact for sure. The quality of the data is one thing, and what we can do with that to improve the efficiency of everyone around the real estate market. It's for sure an excellent idea, but it's hard to put all together and crush the data and put it to something that can be consumed.
Exactly. That's usable.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because you need to take 2.5 million points of data and summarize it into 3 points, 3 action items, or 3 metrics. So it's quite a tough job.
And just to help you, actually, it's more like 4.5 million data lines.
Okay. Even worse.
Yeah.
Before we start to conclude, I just wanted to see with you guys, because you've worked intensely on this transaction, and obviously it's not you didn't sell a building here, you sold a business, so it's kind of a different process. But like, is there any advice you would give to anyone who's looking at selling a startup like you did? And Sean, maybe we could start from your perspective of like, what were some of the big learning points that that if you'd have to do it again, you might do differently?
Yeah, it's a great question. So first thing, when you're selling a business and a startup, is to reach out to your partners and your clients. And that being said, that's why it's important to have amazing, relationships with people, and that your network is everything, because people are going to be interested in your business because of the people that are behind the business, because of what they're able to show and the confidence that they give to people. So reaching out to your network is definitely the first thing to do. And I would say the other thing after that is to have a good legal counsel. It's to have somebody that's there. Don't do it in-house. We didn't cheap on the cost of legal counsel. We went to get Denton's, which is one of the best firms out there. And it's important, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're selling the right thing, and you want to make sure that your buyer is buying the right thing as well. I would say the third thing after that is to have very, very open, discussions with the parties. And I mean, Sebastien and I, we text, we call, whatever we had to talk about, we talked about, and there's nothing that we couldn't talk about. And I think that's what's important, because for us, yes, obviously, the exit is one thing, but the prosperity of the business is another thing as well. We want to make sure that they have everything that they have to be able to bring the business where they want to bring it. So communication is the basis of that.
Definitely. Like, I could see you're absolutely right. Like, the good communication, and I'm so glad you said that. Like, don't cheap out on the legal side, because otherwise it's what could be a nightmare 6 months from now, and it comes back to bite your butt for something you didn't think about because you couldn't have known. And so surrounding yourself with good, real professional, like, really eases the process.
Yeah, and it's based off that, like, there's no other business than Squarefeet. Like, there's things that are similar, yes, but it's not like selling a home here. It's it's very different. In the civil code of Quebec, there's no article talking about tech companies and real estate, compared to like housing or stuff like that. So it's make sure that you're creating this sale of this product. So it's important to have a good legal counsel around.
For sure. And Sebastien, from your perspective, like, you also might have not exactly known what you were getting into at the beginning. Can you kind of share how it went from your side?
Yep. The first time we spoke about the contract, what it was more important for us, it was a communication for sure. And Sean and the guys was very open about that. We tried to do it faster as we can. And what is one of things that buyers and sellers should understand about that, it's not because at the first time you think it's going to be done during this time. It can be pretty much longer than what you think. And if the guys stick to the delay, probably is going to have any problem to conclude. So everyone was open to extend the delay. It took about 15 days more, 20 days more of what we thought. And it's pretty much more legal question that improve the process. But as Sean said, and you said, it's better to take time for both of us to be sure it's going to be a win-win situation instead of a win-lose. It's never good in this time. And actually, I think both have a win-win situation, actually.
For sure. I mean, I think it's based off of we put on the table what each we wanted out of it, and I think it's definitely a win-win. And we had different people that were interested in the business, and when I look at the potential of Sebastien Jean and his team that they have with Squarefeet, I think it's one of the best opportunities. It's the widest spectrum possible. Like if we would have sold it to a developer, he would have been doing it for himself. He would have been selling it maybe to competition. But Sebastien, I mean, the fact that he's in the appraisal industry, he's a specialist of, pricing things. And that's what Squarefeet needed a specialist in pricing. So.
Yeah. And in terms of outcome, it gives the widest possible, because as you said, it's already his existing business to be pricing properties. So he's just adding a super efficient tool to his tool belt.
Correct.
Wow. Well, congratulations, you guys. That's really, it's a great example of, Quebec entrepreneurship and successful development, and then a good transaction. And for both of you, obviously, Sean, from your point of view, you've worked on this and actually developing the product since over a year. So congratulations for sticking with it, because it's really hard, for perfecting it, for being able to make it profitable and viable on the market, to actually develop a product that you were able to sell the company. And so really, you guys, all of the team at Squarefeet deserves a big congratulation. And I guess this transaction is a testament to your hard work.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been possible without my partners. I mean, the three guys that I built this with are amazing. And we didn't mention it, but Benoit Thibault, which is our CTO, still has options on staying on with Squarefeet.
Good.
So Sebastien Jean and him are still in discussion. So I think that also gives a good, it's a tech company and the tech guy is still involved. So I mean, that's a good sign, usually.
Yeah. And to ensure the continuity, even if it's just for 6 months or for a year, but at least to smooth out the transaction and to avoid the big bumps.
Yeah.
Right. And Sebastien, from your point of view, I mean, you took quite a bit of a risk. You obviously went through with it because you have a vision on what it could be several years from now. And I really look forward on hey, let's do another episode maybe a year from now and see where it's at.
Probably, for sure, it's going to be fun. And one thing for us, and when I said us, it's not only me, because I'm partner with Novea, who's Simon Gagné-Lefebvre is my partner in that adventure. And without him, for sure, we didn't buy Squarefeet. That wasn't an easy way for me only to do it, because it's too hard to do it alone. So a partnership it's a good way to continue this company, and we hope to make more noise by the end of 2021 or beginning of 2022 with Squarefeet. Actually, we are trying to make a little pivot with the company and be sure to have the right words to go again on the net and on the social media.
Yeah, and advertise and stuff. And well, good luck with that. And I'm sure you'll be successful. And as I said, I'd be happy to in the future kind of see where it's at and where you've been able to take the business. So thank you so much to the two of you for joining us today in the show and sharing about the Squarefeet transaction. Congratulations again. And I was going to say, maybe after all that, now it's a well-deserved vacation, but it's almost the end of the summer. So hope you enjoyed earlier.
Hey, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you again for everyone tuning in. And as usual, if you have some feedback or comments, feel free to give me a buzz, send me an email. And if you'd like to support the show, please share it with a friend and leave us a rating. So enjoy, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you very much, and goodbye.